In court, Blake Lively breaks down. Blake Lively appears to be finished as Megyn Kelly brings receipts. Megyn. Kelly has been on a mission to reveal all of Blake's lies, along with the proof that Blake's case has been ruined by her lies.
I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have, because the truth should be out there. What does she have to fear if she's telling the truth?
But you can rest assured that based on the investigation we've done, the text messages we have, the receipts that'll go along with that complaint, she's dead in the water.
Using her own attorney, Megyn Kelly is bringing essential supporting documentation for the table that conclusively demonstrates Blake's deceit and falsifying the facts from the beginning. However, Blake's motivations may be much darker and more egocentric than anyone could ever think.
Blake Lively was no victim here. She was in control, she was in power, and she took over this film.
From utilizing her husband and best friend Taylor Swift. Ryan Reynolds intimidated Justin Baldoni by threatening to boycott producers, the film, if her absurd requests weren't met.
Such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film, even if she's the lead, and that she's now tried to turn this whole thing into a PR victory for her to get past what appears to be the fact that she is an egotistical.
As we can see right now, it appears that Blake's case goes far beyond a straightforward sexual harassment lawsuit. Had a sinister master plan from the beginning. We are all aware by now that Blake Lively has filed a lawsuit against Justin, alleging that he engaged in harassment and planted a smear campaign directed towards her. Justin has since filed a lawsuit in response, alleging that Blake had started a campaign of defamation against him. However, there is much more to this story than you might think. Understand. Therefore, we must do a thorough investigation before we can examine all of the recently leaked evidence into the beginning, as it appears that Blake had a sinister scheme, don't you think? From the beginning, as we are currently discovering, it all began, a long time ago. Prior to it all turning into a public dispute, it dates back to the time when Blake's reputation went up in a firestorm of public censure. No, it was completely unrelated to Justin Baldoni, according to her assertions. Her own little miss me mentality was the cause. That made her fans dislike her. Let me clarify. In interviews to advance her and Justin's movie, It Ends With Us, individuals soon began to get a shady feeling from Blake. Fans were eager to unearth historical people, were appalled by what they discovered during Blake's interviews.
Often happens when these stars drop a movie, people start digging around for other interviews of them, etc. And it was just sort of a course of, wow, she seems like kind of a jerk. Wow, she's like kind of a bully. She's rather mean.
Therefore, to improve her public image, she became defensive and accused Justin and his public relations team of spreading unfavorable rumors about her. She also included it in her Please Love Me Again strategy. Blake wrote an article for the New York Times to draw attention away from herself and toward Justin, making him appear to be a victim and the actual monster. The only issue is that there is now tangible evidence of text message manipulation by the New York Times and purposefully omitted important details from text messages in order to paint the worst possible portrayal of Justin.
Removing text in between text and emojis to sort of make it sound worse.
But wait. Doesn't this sound something a little too familiar?
She has made herself into the new Amber Heard, and he is the new Johnny Depp.
Recall how Amber Heard carried out the same action. In 2018, with a disparaging article about Johnny Depp in the Sun newspaper, where she also depicted herself as a victim and him as a monster. Indeed, Amber even emerged from... She went into hiding to support Blake, but Blake committed a serious mistake by taking a learn from Amber's experience. How awfully did it all turn out for her?
Now he's going full Johnny Depp on her to show that she was the bully, she was the one hurting him, and this guy who had, comparatively very little power was forced now to come out and tell the truth about Blake Lively.
Similar to Amber, Blake's largest. It was a mistake to assume that all of us are stupid, including her fans, because despite her assertion that Justin and his public relations team is attempting to harm her reputation in interviews, I apologize though. However, we can see, because we have eyes, her rudeness toward interviewers is evident. We can see how she turns everything into herself, such as when she was questioned about her husband in this video, but instead made her hair care line the center of attention.
But he would, so he'd suddenly start filming my hands or my feet. But what was interesting is that to him in that moment, my hands were telling so much more of the story than my face. And I had to be so much more, it was sort of chicken or the egg. I don't know if I was more alive and awake as an actor, because every part of me was up for grabs while he's filming. My mom will call 7 times in a row. She's that person. She's the one who thinks that on time 6, you just didn't see that she was calling. So she's just gonna keep calling.
Most importantly, we can observe how she is tone deaf to the film's theme and her apparent lack of respect for real victims, like in the following video.
And you turned around and you were just as supportive of Ryan. Yeah. What is it like to...
And my hair care company, Blake Brown, my goodness gracious. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy week.
The movie is going to affect people and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you and then we could...
Not surprisingly, fans turned against her. My goodness, she's so shallow. It is a serious subject. It has nothing to do with star signs. Requesting compassion, Blake, not attempting to locate you. It's unbelievable that I once liked this woman. She is an extremely out-of-touch narcissist in every interview. Additionally, similar to Johnny Depp's attorneys completely ruined Amber Heard, Justin Baldoni's attorney is preparing to adore Blake Lively literally into oblivion.
Going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megyn. Wait till you see this lawsuit.
Boy, oh boy, and a fun fact too, Megyn Kelly's. Justin Baldoni is also being represented by a lawyer. However, as we also stated at the first of all, Blake's efforts to save her own life weren't the only ones that were desperate. Reputation, but it might have been her malevolent master plan from the beginning to take the movie that Justin Baldoni is working on. Numerous texts have been exchanged between Justin and Blake, as well as between Justin and the editors and producers to demonstrate this.
She used these allegations of sexual harassment and she used these allegations of bullying to try and leverage her position so she could be the de facto director.
By the way, Justin Baldoni was not just the movie's star, but also its director and writer, appeared somewhat taken aback upon discovering that Blake had made her own director's cut of the movie, and nobody was permitted to watch it.
If producer to have a competing cut of a film is incredibly bizarre, but when she starts threatening people and saying, I'm not going to promote the film, I'm not going to do anything unless you use my cut, that's when it starts to be awfully incendiary.
And that's not all. Justin was additionally shocked to discover that Blake's spouse, Ryan Reynolds, had contributed to the writing of some of the scenes, which is wholly unsuitable, and no one even talked to Justin about it.
And one of the most beautiful nights of my life, career-wise, I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour because I wasn't allowed to be seen. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast.
Blake Lively was such a brat that her and Ryan Reynolds specifically requested during the premiere that they so did not want him to attend his own.
Not to mention that Justin and his friends and family were confined to the basement during his own movie's premiere.
Documents actually don't lie. People do. And it's important that everyone sees all of the documents that are involved in the case because there are people that have been destroyed as a result of the allegations that have been made so far in this case.
This is just additional evidence that she intended to steal the movie and be the sole focus of attention. However, things are gradually changing now, and Blake's situation appears dire as Justin's attorney is prepared to unpack a ton of evidence that was against her.
It's just an example of how she loves to play the victim. And then the one about, he burst in on me uninvited when I was breastfeeding my child. She says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm breastfeeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over. He says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm breastfeeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over. Like, it's written there, black and white. She invited him in, and a lot of women are comfortable having someone around when they breastfeed. So it's not so weird, especially out in Hollywood, for him to assume, yeah, I guess she's fine with this because she did let him in. Ryan Reynolds comes off terribly. He had them over to their penthouse in New York, and Taylor Swift was believed to be there, according to this latest complaint. Not within the purview of an actress. And then after that, they have text messages in which Blake tells Justin, this is in the latest lawsuit, I know you've never watched Game of Thrones, but when you get around to watching it, you'll realize I'm Khaleesi, and these are my dragons, and I have the best dragons in the business, right? Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
I'm sorry, Blake Lively comparing herself to Khaleesi has to be one of the wildest cases of self-fulfilling prophecy I've seen to date. Like, everyone's making fun of her for saying that, but what's more Khaleesi than being a once beloved public figure who stood to win it all and lost it in a fiery rage? Like, it is giving twin. She's absolutely accurate. And just like in Game of Thrones, in the end, those dragons did not mean shit.
Without further ado, here are just a few of the falsehoods she has been telling, as we now know. First of all, the entire BEE eating story, Blake claimed Justin had invaded her personal space and arriving without permission while she was naked or ing her newborn child. However, recently discovered text messages truly bring Blake's entire assertion as called into question, because as is evident from Blake's own, she even invited Justin to visit her trailer in a private conversation as she pumped milk for her infant. This is the evidence, as obvious as Blake's message says, "I'm just pumping in my trailer on this day, if you would like to figure out our lines." Additionally, based on Justin's response, he didn't have to hurry to her trailer, but she might have. Been offensive, to which he replied, "Copy. We're having dinner with the crew and we'll go there." However, this demonstrates that Blake herself established the limits to what she felt comfortable doing.
Furthermore, an intimacy coordinator's job is to be there to facilitate the filming of existing and agreed upon intimacy, okay? They're there to basically like broker and manage consent and safety. That's what they're there for.
Indeed, Blake accused the top producer and Jamie Heath, Justin Baldoni's friend, for acting in a very inappropriate as well as pornographic content to her. Blake gave an explanation of the incident, like some genuinely horrifying incident in which she was a or ed, but her lawsuit left out some very important background information, such as the fact that there was a birthing scene in the movie script and the video that he was the producer of his own wife's birth.
Chemistry with Justin also was off the chart. And Blake, you always have a vision. So talk to me about how sometimes you were even the intimacy coordinator in some of those sexier scenes. Like we saw you.
That shouldn't be happening, by the way. I just want to be clear that you should not be the intimacy coordinator. You should definitely hire intimacy coordinators, which we did have. Well, they could.
Additionally, as we've since discovered, to capture the beauty of giving life, the footage was tastefully done and rather artistic. There is nothing H-Mike-Ing or Peach-G-graphic about it.
Many instances where I honestly just tried to get out of the way and let her take the lead, and especially when it came to intimacy and all of that, like she had a very clear vision, and she was telling me what she thought would work and what she thought would be sexy.
Honestly, there were many instances on set where I just let the women figure it out, and I took a step back and kind of jumped in more as an actor in those scenes than even as a director.
Third, fat shaming. Blake made yet another vicious accusation, was that Justin made offensive remarks regarding her body and weight, and that he essentially made fun of her appearance. The situation got so bad that Ryan Reynolds allegedly even called Justin to his penthouse, chastised him, and cursed at him. Blake also included other people in the mess besides her husband. According to reports, she also used Taylor Quick to control and chastise Justin. In additional leaked texts, she claimed to be the legendary Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, threatening Justin, and that her dragons are Taylor and Ryan. Take a listen to how genuinely embarrassing it sounds. Megyn Kelly's perspective. However, it's possible that Blake didn't watch until the very end of Game of Thrones, because if my memory serves me well, things didn't. Did it end well for her? But all right, anyway. Thus, Justin did indeed go. "Hey, what's Blake's weight?" he asked his personal trainer. Blake learned about it and again blew it out of proportion. As we've already observed, there's a tendency to misinterpret things. Justin actually suffers from severe back issues, and there was a scripted scene in the film where he was supposed to lift Blake up, so it was absolutely crucial for Justin to know how much Blake weighs to be sure that he doesn't hurt himself or, God forbid, hurt Blake. So there was no fat shaming or discussing Blake's body. He simply needed to know her weight to make sure the scene could be done safely and correctly. But other leaked messages damned Blake's absurd accusation even more. Messages between Justin and Blake reveal just how supportive of her he was when she was worried about her body image after she had given birth. In one message, Justin reassured her, writing to her, "Anything you are insecure about, we will talk through and get creative together and make you comfortable. I just don't want you to stress about your body. It's the last thing you need." Number 4, intimacy coordinator. Another allegation making headlines is that there was apparently no intimacy coordinator present on set. And in case you don't know what an intimacy coordinator is, as per Blake's lawsuit, she claims there was no use of intimacy coordinators to observe intimate scenes, and that Mr. Baldoni improvised physical intimacy that had not been rehearsed, choreographed, or discussed with Ms. Lively, with no intimacy coordinator involved. The only little issue here is that Blake's lawsuit kind of contradicts her own actual words, because here she's explaining in an interview that, yes, they did hire an intimacy coordinator.
I'm not getting beard on you today.
I'm probably getting a spray tan on you.
It smells good.
Well, it's not bad. It's my body.
Ryan, go to the bar. Ryan, go to the bar.
Now that she's had her shot against him, and she's severely damaged him with that New York Times piece and this complaint, which she managed to get leaked. Now she wants a complete gag order. Poor Blake. Why should Justin be able to release snippets to the media without the full context? That's what she said. That's what she did.
So, which is it? If you're still a little on the fence on this one, then how about these actual text messages between Blake and Justin? Just hired a new intimacy coordinator who I love. Will set you up to meet. To which Blake responds, I feel good. Can meet her when we start. Doesn't seem like Blake was all that worried about whether there was an intimacy coordinator on set or not. And in several interviews, even long before Blake sued Justin, he praised Blake for how she took control of their intimate scenes. So it's not like he was trying to cover his own behind either. And the cherry on the cake? Here's Blake, caught on camera, clearly directing Justin and showing him how to pull her in and do a kissing scene. Judging by their body language, it looks like this is ALL Blake and Justin's just along for the ride. We can show whole video number 5, Blake's nightmare scene. Also in her lawsuit, Blake made reference to one scene in particular. Let's break it down point by point, because almost every single point she made backfired on her spectacularly. 1. On another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. 2. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character. Instead, he spoke to Ms. Lively out of character as himself. 3. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck as he said, "It smells so good." So Blake claimed there was no sound in the scene, right? That's great for her as it allows her to completely manipulate what's really happening in the scene. But sorry again, Blake. Justin's lawyer shared the actual footage from filming. And guess what? It has sound. And it once again proves that Blake was lying and twisting the truth. Now watch the original video for yourself and let us know in the comments. Does Justin come across as an absolute monster who's harming Blake every step of the way? Or is it looking more like Blake tried to play the victim, but it backfired? And by the way, Blake was also acting out of character, not just Justin. For goodness sake, they were talking about their spouses at one point. Hardly anything uncomfortable or observing. And pay special attention to the part where Justin says it smells good, because it's way more innocent than Blake made it out to be. Here's just a few seconds of the 10-minute clip. And here's another kicker. Blake's lawsuit said that, and I quote, "Nothing needed to be said because again there was no sound." But oops, Blake. Isn't this Blake herself telling Justin that they should talk in the scene? So yeah, I'd love to hear what y'all make of this insanity. And the plot twist? Goodness me, you won't believe this. Blake has now slammed Justin Baldoni and his lawyer with a gag order to stop them from publishing any and all text messages or other evidence against her. Heaven forbid Justin defends himself, but here's the cracker. So what do you guys make of all of this? I suppose the question is a simple one. Has Blake been lying all along and been playing the victim, and now her supposed evidence is blowing up in her face, all thanks to Justin Baldoni and Megyn Kelly's lawyer? Or is there still some truth to her claims and she really is a victim in all of this after all? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, hit that subscribe and notification buttons. And make sure to check out more of our videos as we cover the hottest celebrity news.